They already have it. Most people think it's some separate thing they have to quest for, or it's something they have to ask people, what should I do? I can't stand it when people ask that question. I'm like, don't do that. Don't ask other people. The answers are within you, and there's some really key ways you can figure that out. You can look to what we call times of ecstatic engagement. You know, times when you felt your best, your happiest, you lost track of time and what you were doing, and you were just in the flow. It wasn't a struggle. Most people think, oh, that was just a cool experience. I'm like, no, that was a key to your career path. That's a sign that there's something you're really enjoying and they're good at that comes so easily to you. It doesn't happen that way for everybody. And that's another key piece, is to look at what people thank you for. Because even when we're little kids, we tend to have, again, talents and abilities that show up. I know now as a parent, you can start to see some of those. But you really, when you start to look at what do people thank you for, you start to notice where you're being of service. And that's another key piece of the passionate, ideal career. Well, you do need to demystify it and find out if you're getting paid market value or not. That's the number one thing you need to do, especially if you feel underpaid. It can help, because if you look at market value and realize you're top of the range, then hey, all of a sudden you feel good about your job, right? So check out salary.com, check out payscale.com. Even Glassdoor has salary information, so you don't have to be in the dark. You can even fill out, from your geographic area, your job title, all kinds of stuff. Then if you do find you're underpaid, maybe at the lower end of that scale, you have to ask. Purely asking will make a big difference, because I've talked to managers, I've talked to leaders. They say, I'm going to give it to the person who asks. I'm not just going to proactively give money around, although that's nice. Right. You're saying, I give it to the one who asks. Yeah. So, and the other thing I learned with a negotiation expert is when you ask, yes, make your case, talk about the things you've done and achieved, talk about the great things your boss has said about you or others have said about you, have your case, but then stop talking. Okay, let them react. Right. Don't keep running on and getting all nervous. Just say your case and then just let the boss
stop and let them talk.
Right, and let it sink in, because then it shows your seriousness. So I want people to know that they don't have to be scared that they're really going to get a flat out no. That's not usually what happens.
Yeah, and you're no worse off usually. So I mean, it's not going to be
they
your
respect
worst.
you more because you've made the case, and it's interesting. I mean. The other thing too, I've heard this about women versus men, is that women feel more comfortable negotiating on behalf of someone else. So if you're still nervous about that ask, man or woman, remember you're advocating not just on your behalf, but on behalf of your family, maybe on behalf of other coworkers who aren't speaking up, right? Yeah. Think of if you need to realize that you're there for other people, you are. That's still part of it. You need to forgive and have compassion for that person, because chances are they are doing the best they can. I mean, this person was doing the best they can with what they had learned. And it, all of a sudden, just me relaxing about that and having compassion for that person changed the dynamic of the relationship. Right. Because all of a sudden I stopped expecting different behavior from that person, and it went a long way. I think you can also, and I coach a lot of people to do this, you bring it up. You say, wow, I really want to have the best working relationship with you. Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong, but I've noticed some challenges. Are there ways I could be working better with you? And I've heard from managers, and they say, please open that door, because they don't know how to approach certain things. If maybe you're doing something, maybe it's you, maybe you're annoying them for some reason, and they feel bad saying it. Just open that door and say, please tell me if there's something I could be doing differently to work better. I'd love to. I think that companies could go further with giving people flexibility. I also put it though on the employee, because a lot of people say they want flexibility, and I'll say, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, So defining what is your ideal schedule, do it now. Don't wait for your company to offer flexibility. If you could have anything, what would that look like? And I've had clients do this and then go into their boss and ask for it, and the boss has said yes. And you can even, if they're nervous, say, how about we pilot it for a month or two? That's a great idea. And then they feel more comfortable because they have an out if it doesn't work, and so do you. So you really don't even need a company-wide initiative to get flexibility. You just need to get clarity, and then you need to pilot it with your boss. The responsibility does rest with the individual to get clear, again, on what's going to make them happy. When I was at Martha Stewart, I was Director of Learning and Development, and I created a career class. Because people are like, you're a coach, do that stuff here. All right. And the first question was, what is going to make your job better? What do you think needs to happen to make your job better? I didn't ask the manager to do it, I asked the employee to do it. And then I coached the managers of different teams, do this kind of stay interview with your whole team. Say, what could be done to make your job better? What ideas do you have for not only improving the work, but maybe adding more productivity? What would you like to see happen here? And when I had managers do this, without they weren't committed to following through on these ideas, but it was just the ask, again, that situation where you create that communication. The manager said, there were great ideas shared that we implemented, and all of a sudden, I didn't have to take care of the work took care of itself. Because the employees took responsibility for making it better, the manager supported them in that, and it was a completely different environment. And you have a lot of control and empowerment to actually make it better. It helps to do workshops about working smarter, not harder, because I can't give advice that I don't take, right? And there's always new research, right? So I did recently do one of those in the last year, and I learned a lot about how our brains work. And a lot of the traditional way we've grown up working is not very much in line with our brains and how the rest we need, the breaks we need. Taking naps are a good thing. It's not bad. But I don't like to advertise, well, I guess I just did, that I take naps. I do. So if I'm tired, how much productivity am I going to get through? And if I power down coffee, I'm not going to sleep and I'm going to be tired again. Like, it doesn't work. I think it's time to start working with our bodies, in terms of recognizing when you work best. Also, I like to work, actually, apparently all of our brains are better in the morning. So if you have something strategic you need to do, something that is going to take more brain power, do that first. Even if it's the hard thing, even if it's the big project, work on that first. And then later in the day, take breaks. They call it attention residue. When you can't shift quickly from one task to another. So don't think you can check email and then get right back to what you're working on, because you got attention residue for the 20 things that just came through. And the last tip, the thing that really has worked for me over the years, is I got a card early on when I started coaching from a coach in Philadelphia. I can't remember her name. I wish I could, but I got a card that said, "Is this the best use of my time?" And that simple question, hanging on my desk, was always just this touchstone to come back and be like, wait, am I working on the most important thing? Because we have more time than we realize. And I think, unfortunately, we're not always working on the best use of our time, and that's why we feel so scattered or so unaccomplished or so deflated at the end of the day. You got to feel like you did something really important that day, and asking yourself, what's the best use of my time, get you there. I'm career and executive coach Maggie Mistal. You only have one life, so live bold.